Camilla, thanks very much for joining us. For those who don't know Hassell, maybe just give us a quick introduction to the company.
So Hassell is a global architecture and design company with 80 years of experience and offices across Australia, Asia, the US, and Europe. And the practice has a clear mission to create places people love. And we do this by combining strategic intelligence and creative design, ensuring that all of our projects are as beautiful and original as they are socially, environmentally, and economically impactful. And my role really is to deliver the research and insights that enable that kind of evidence-based and people-centric design.
There's been a lot of focus on placemaking, particularly over the last 12 to 18 months. Camilla, is that something that you've become more aware of in terms of the research side that there at Hassell?
Yeah, of course, because the last year and a half has been incredibly transformative for many people and in many people's lives. And in order to design for people, we have to understand what that really means for them. So people have experienced being confined to their homes and their neighbourhoods for considerable periods of time. And that has brought the quality of the local environment into stark relief. So for some, the ability to avoid a daily commute has been a blessing, while for others, the absence of an adequate work environment has been a nightmare. Some might have enjoyed their homes and gardens in ways they've never done before, and others have realized that they've got practically no access to a green space, public or private. Basically, since urbanization and the consequent suburbanization took hold in the 20th century, urban design and placemaking practitioners have been arguing for the value of well-designed places that help people live a great quality of life. But we are seeing that now more than ever, that argument is something that resonates with everyone. If space is the commodity, place is the process. It's the experience. And so to me, placemaking is about engaging with the multifaceted processes and systems, and most importantly, the people that give a space meaning. So it's about creating spaces that have a meaningful presence in people's lives and environments that inspire an emotional connection.
So how do you think we get that right in terms of a post-pandemic world? And obviously there you're looking at the research side, Camilla. So is this around gathering the right evidence? What sort of data are you looking at here?
For example, data tells me that a small playground can add up to 5% to the value of the properties that are located within 300 meters of that playground. And data also tells me that society benefits when children are active and they spend time outdoors and they socialize with other children and children who come from different backgrounds to themselves. And a playground is an open space that can help capture rainwater and provide mini habitats for wildlife such as bugs and birds, and that's good for the environment. And then when I talk to people, they tell me that they want free activities to engage with their children on Sunday, so things to do that they don't have to pay to do. And they feel good when they spend time in nature, but they don't want to walk very far to get to those places. So the story of a place really is always this layered story, and you can find environmental, social, and economic reasons to engage with good placemaking, but we need to become a lot better in telling those nuanced stories and telling them with both quantitative and qualitative evidence. And the only way to do that really is to talk to people and communities, because a great place is going to look slightly different to different communities, both whether they're within the same city or if they're on opposite sides of the planet. But there are some fundamentals that we can set out and get right as a starting point. We know that a great place has to provide spaces that people want to spend time in, and they have to provide activities that people want to take part in and functions that people need to engage with. Research also tells us that people are attracted to nature and to opportunities for socializing, while places that for one reason or another makes us feel unsafe will in some ways repel us. And now with COVID, obviously what makes us feel unsafe is quite different from what it might have been a year and a half ago. But we need to talk to people and engage with them to build an understanding of what this means in those different contexts, whilst connecting it with some of that baseline research, if you will, into generally what kind of places human beings as a species feel comfortable in.
And you mentioned there, Camilla, about the sort of global nature of real estate, and that's obviously true of many of the investors and operators. On that basis, the solutions are going to be increasingly local. I suppose, how do we reconcile that?
Placemaking tends to be thought of at the scale of an urban square or a street or a neighborhood, but even the planet is a place and a single ecosystem, and we have to think across all of these scales for placemaking to be truly successful. And so this juxtaposition between our local and our global needs is something that is really fascinating, and maybe something that we haven't really figured out how to get right yet. We also know that a great place has to work operationally. It has to be able to deal with human behavior, for example, by providing energy for our activities and helping with waste management. And it has to be able to deal with natural disruptions, such as a flash flood or a drought. So in the future, I think it'll be crucial for international real estate developers and operators to partner with local stakeholders and to appoint local representatives and to work with community champions to help make sure that their presence is perceived to grow from within. And more than ever, the process of how a place is made is going to define the outcome. So we're going to have to learn to kind of love that journey as much as we love the destination. So it's a bit of a mind shift change, I think, for the global real estate investor community, but that is happening. But then it's also for the locals to really get engaged with that process of making a place, and I guess also speaking up about what they want their place to be, so that the local and the global can work together more holistically and more successfully.
Yeah, there's some really good examples, I think, of that happening at the moment. So it's interesting to see that trend coming through. Thanks very much for joining us, Camilla.
Thank you for having me.